Okay, so Google Forms for differentiation. And I have a link there for the bit.ly, and that will take you straight to my presentation. A little bit, the goal for today is to introduce Google Forms as a way to differentiate instruction for users. This is a little bit about me. I teach 6th through 8th grade STEM here in Missouri. All of my education has been centered around technology, and I'm one of those 9/11 teachers that became a teacher after 9/11 when I realized we needed to give back to society. So everything has been focused about educational technology since then. I am Google Certified Educator, Apple Educator, Adobe Creative. I am working on my National Board certification and my ISTE certification, and I am a total technology education nerd. And if you're anywhere around St. Louis, you'll know the expression, I wear red and I bleed blue. So that's the total St. Louis motto right now. So on to Google Forms. Everybody knows the basics. You can do a quiz, you can do a survey, you can do a sign up. But there's so much more with Google Forms that you can do. It's all about the power. And I loved this little icon that I found, the power, because in Google Forms, you can do self-grading, which probably most teachers know about, but you can also do certificates. You can do differentiation. And there's all kinds of add-ons out there that when you add on to Google Forms, or when you combine the power of Google Forms and Google Sheets, it's endless, because really Google Forms is built on the backbone of Google Sheets, which goes even deeper. So the first thing that I want to talk about with you is Google Forms for differentiation with branching. And I have two links here for you. One is the working form that I set up so you can see the teacher side, the build side, the back end of how to differentiate. And then the other is the answer form that you can go on and play with. That would be the side that the student sees. So I am going to come out of my presentation, and I'm actually going to go to that form with you. So here is the teacher side. You can kind of see how it's set up. It's set up in sections. And the way I set it up and the way I love doing it is because then, depending upon how a student answers a question, you can push them to the information that they need. If they don't answer the question correctly, you can scaffold them. If they do answer the question correctly, you can push them further. So I'm going to switch over to a blank form so I can actually show you how that works. So we are going to come in here, and I just got a pop-up. I thought I had those set up as everybody could access with the link. If you're having problems with one of those links, please drop it in the chat and I will make sure that that is fixed. So on this, we're just going to say something. I always start every form with asking the kids what is their first and last name, because in my district, if we just pick up the emails are set with a number, and then I'm set with going and looking up every number, and that's just more time than I want to take. So I always start with, what is your name? And I always have to say, what is your first name and last name? And I do explain to my kids, and I teach middle schoolers, that if you put things like King Bubba, I won't grade your work, because I don't have a King Bubba on my roster. You have to use your given first name and your given last name. And another hit with Google Forms is always make sure everything is required. Okay? So then the plus adds another question, which most of you guys know. So I'm really familiar with engineering. That's what I teach. So I'm just going to go with those concepts. My 6th graders learn about energy sources like the other slide or other form that I presented. So I would probably start with a question like, which of the following is a renewable resource? And I'd leave it as multiple choice, very level 1 question, very basic question. But in my curriculum, yes, some of the kids have studied energy resources, but the majority of my curriculum is beginner level. So a lot of my questions to start with are beginner levels. So I'm going to say renewable resources. I'm going to say coal, oil, and wind. Now, here's where the beauty of Google Forms comes in. I can come down here and I'm going to say required. Now, notice my automatic grader isn't set. So if you don't know how to set your automatic grader, you're going to come up here to the cog for settings. You're going to go over to quizzes and you're going to say make this a quiz. And that allows you to assign points and set up the automatic grading. Okay, so I'm going to say, I don't want the kids to know everything after immediately. So I'm going to say after I manually review things. And then it says, can the respondent see missed questions, correct answers, or point values? I usually don't like the kids to see missed questions and correct answers because I've found with experience that when they do that, they kind of stop. If they don't necessarily know what's right and what's wrong, it pushes them a little further to keep going. I do let them see the point value. That doesn't, seem to matter one way or the other. So I'm going to click save. And now you'll see that I have this answer key. So I can click answer key. I'm going to tell it's wind. Okay. And I'm going to assign it, say I'm going to assign it 5 points. And say done. Now here's where the beautiful deal with branching comes in. These 3 dots, I've heard them called snowmen, I've heard them called the stoplight. I just always refer to them as the 3 dots. So I'm going to click that, and if you see here, it says go to section based on answer. That's what we're going to use. So I'm going to click that, and you'll see here. So right now it just says continue to the next section because we don't have a section set up. This hover bar over here, the top one's where you add the question, import questions, titles, images, movies. The bottom one is add section. That's where your power comes in. If you click that, you'll see I now have a new section. So I can say this is going to be renewable resources. And I'm going to add something in there. So if my kiddo comes up here and they think oil is a renewable resource, we immediately know that we need to scaffold back for that kiddo. So that's where over here on mine, you can see what I have done, and I've done that exact same thing. I started with the question, what are 2 different types of resources? You can see where I've put in the sections with my 3 dots and 2 different types of resources. We all know that it's renewable and non-renewable. If they get it right, they're going to be pushed down to section 3, which is called types of resources. If they get it wrong, we are going to push them to section 2, which is 2 types of resources. So in 2 types of resources, I have a video for them to watch. And then at that, you'll see after section 2, continue to the next section. It's going to push them back to question 3. And again, it's going to ask to try to get them to understand the difference between renewable and non-renewable again. A definition question. What does non-renewable mean? So again here, if I click on, you can see if they get it, it can easily be replaced. It's coal or it's fish. They still don't understand. It's going to push them to section 4, another scaffold. If they get it correct, it's going to push them to section 5, types of resources. So then again, it's going to depend how they answer. And then if they still get it wrong, now I've given them a reading, just a short reading. And I always try to make it a couple grade levels lower just to ensure that they can understand. Specifically because I've already scaffolded with a video. And if they've missed the answer from the video, there's a good chance that they need a little bit lower scaffold. So I've pulled this couple paragraphs and I have it in there. The definitions are right there. Continue to the next section. And now it's going to ask again, what does renewable mean? Notice I'm not asking the same question each time. But once they get one, you have a fairly good assurance that they're going to get the other. And then I would just build on that. So if the kiddo got it right up here, go to section 5, 2 types of resources. So we already know what non-renewable means. They're going to go down to section 5 and it's going to hit, what does renewable mean? And then it's going to continue. So now at that continuation point, we're going to talk about examples of renewable resources. So that's basically how you branch for differentiation. You're going to be utilizing that add a section. You're going to be utilizing that answer key, and you're very much going to be using the go to section based on the answer. That it opened my mind. I was like, wow, this really hits that scaffolding. It really hits my ability to meet the needs of every kiddo in my class. And the kids are engaged because I literally explained to them, hey, I've designed this for what you need. They know that not every kid is going to get the same thing. And we really spend some time talking about what's fair is not always equal. Everybody gets what they need. It's not always the same. So that's the big way to differentiate. And then you can go even further. So I'm going to go back over here to my slideshow and I will fix these links. I thought I had them set to where everybody could get it. I'm getting some pop-ups saying that I didn't. Give me a few minutes and I will get that set up for you. The next thing that I've given you is differentiation through choice. And I've actually done a complete screencast for you there because I wasn't sure how long I would actually have to talk you through it. But what this does is this uses a Google Forms add-on called Choice Eliminator 2. And what the beauty of this is that I'm going to come back over here to the form. When you actually click your add-on and you go to Choice Eliminator 2 and you configure it. So I use this a lot in place of a choice board. This Choice Eliminator 2 add-on tells you or allows you to say, so like which of the following forms is non-renewable? What it allows you to do is it allows you to eliminate choices. So I use it when kids are doing research projects. What I do is I figure if I have 4 different things that they want to research and I have 20 kiddos in my class, I'm only going to allow 5 kids to pick each topic. So I click the cog and then I would just come over here and set 5, 5, and 5. The beauty of that is the first kids that get in, they get what they want, the counter goes down. And then when 5 are in there, if that's what I've set it for, that choice drops off. And what I really like it for is for the kiddo that maybe wasn't paying attention, maybe is, off in their own world or just not on it today. They will get there and all the choices will be gone. It'll literally say no responses available. And then at that point, I've trained my kiddos, if they get that, they have to come up and have a conversation with me. And that conversation is a caring, loving conversation, because we always support our kids first. Hey, sweetie, what's going on today? Are you off? For you to have no choices there, something was going on. What do I need? What do I need to do to help you? Where can we go? What would you like to research? So it allows for that one-on-one conversation to be set up. And there's been many times that I purposely set my choices a couple less than what I have, just because I know my class, I know I have a couple kiddos that are going to be those late ones, and they need to verbally talk through. And a lot of the kiddos have picked up on that because they know they need to talk it through as well. So they wait so they can come up and talk it through. But the beauty is you can use this choice eliminator with the branching. And that's what I have in the screencast there. So it actually allows you to drum down. So you're not getting 20 posters on solar energy. You might get one poster on solar energy, one video on solar energy, one interview on solar energy, and then it would go to the coal. It allows for a better differentiation. The kids get to pick what they're interested in. The kids get to pick the format that they want to use. So, and then just a couple others that I threw in here because I knew we wouldn't have time. I did a quick GIF of how to do self-grading for quizzes, if that's something new for you. And then this is an add-on that I just found that I love and will definitely come in for this coming school year. Instead of sending a result that, hey, you passed, it actually allows you to set a passing mark and then sends the kiddo a certificate. This add-on is free. The only caveat is because of Google, you can only, or the add-on can only send 100 emails a day. But if you're like me, you're not going to send more than 100 emails a day. If you have 100 kiddos testing in a day, wow, I want to know your secret. Okay, so, and it actually allows you to set up, it will send a certificate, and the certificates are customizable. They have all different kinds of forms, or you can send an email saying, hey, you didn't pass, get with me so we can reschedule your reassessment. Because I'm one of those teachers, I never put in a failing grade. The only time you fail my class is if you do absolutely nothing. I will stay on you. I will keep having you redo the work. I will keep building you up until you can have a passing grade. I do not like to see Fs on grade cards. And then the final thing I have for you is some add-ons. So I've put in Choice Eliminator in there. I've put in Certify Me. The other add-on I have on there is a QR code generator, which if you're like me again, it's so much easier for my kids to snap a QR code than to even type in a bit.ly. The QR code works great, goes them straight to what they need. And then I put in two in there that I have found. I haven't tried these, but these are going to be very interesting. They do similar things. One is called Time plus Proctor, and one is called Timify Me. So these are both paid, but they are not expensive. Time plus Proctor, I believe it was $5 for 250 sessions. And Timify Me is, I think, $6 a month. So what they do is they not only give you a time up for an assessment, but one thing that is extremely big conversation, especially in my district and among teachers I hear, is how do you know the kid is really doing the work? What's going on with both of these is very similar to like when you take your Google assessments for Google educators and Google trainers. You know how it takes that quick video of you? That's what's going on here. It is taking a video of the student every so often, and it will send you as the educator to ensure that they are the one that is actually taking the test. And it also monitors if they have opened up another tab, or if they're looking off to the side and talking to somebody else. You'll be able to see all that. So I haven't used them yet. Please, please, please connect with me on Twitter. If you do use one of them, I would love to know. It is definitely something I'm thinking about, especially something that I am going to forward on to my co-teachers, because I think it would be very, very, very powerful. So I'm going to ask Jeff to pop back on and see if we had any questions that I can answer.
You've been listening to the TEACHERCAST Educational Network, hosted by Jeff Bradbury. Please reach out to the show with all of your questions on Twitter @TEACHERCAST or online at www.teachercast.net. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. And please take a moment to write a review in the App Store.